Hey guys, it's Sprinkets, and I'm here with a Final Fantasy XIV Online video. I know I said I wasn't actually going to make Final Fantasy XIV videos, but this isn't a gameplay video. It's a pro and cons video. If you guys have any questions that you want answered, or have anything to say about this video and or the game, leave it in the comments. I'd love to read them. So the first pro is not having to make a new character every time you want to play a different class. I really like this about Final Fantasy XI Online, and I really like how they put it in this one also. With World of Warcraft, Ion, Rift, any MMO that I've played in the past, other than Final Fantasy, you always have to make a new character when you want a new class. So let's say, you're on World of Warcraft and you're playing a warrior, and then you want to play healer. You have to make a new character, start from scratch, and level it all the way up, get the reputations to every city up, this and that. It's a pain in the ass. With Final Fantasy, in this one, you just change your weapon on the character, and voila, you're a different class. In Final Fantasy XI, you would go to your Mog house, choose the class that you wanted to play, and your character would automatically switch from that class that you were on to the class that you wanted to be. So having that in an MMO I find to be really awesome. I really like it. It's one of my favorite things about the Final Fantasy Online games, and I'm hoping to see that done in more games in the future. The second pro is the spellcasting and how it's different from other games. There is no global cooldown in Final Fantasy. Each spell has its own cooldown, whether it's from 3 seconds to 10 minutes. And I really like that because you can spam from arrow to heal quickly. You don't have to have any downtime. So in boss fights or, parties, it's so simple, especially when I'm soloing. Because soloing as a conjurer takes a lot of work, especially if you're new to the game. Like, I'll be dying, and I'll be able to do damage and heal myself so quickly that, I've only died once so far since I've made this character. So it's quite spiffy. I like the no global cooldowns. Number 3 is the fact that you can now own Chocobos. In Final Fantasy XI, you could not own Chocobos. You could only rent them. In Final Fantasy XIV, you can actually own a Chocobo and call it anytime you're outside a city, which I think is freaking boss. Because I was so hoping they would do something like that in this one, just because, not that I didn't like the fact of renting and not owning a mount, or Chocobo, but it's so much easier, especially when the maps are so huge, and you wanna travel quickly. Number 4 is the teleport feature. There's a teleport feature in this game, where if you go to a crystal like this in any type of area that has it, you gain that teleport. So for instance, the Black Shroud is the Gridania area. I have all of these because these are all of the crystals I've been to. It costs anima. Anima is, the cap is 100, and it regens, I'm not sure how quickly, but it seems a fair amount. It's at 76 right now, and I think it goes up every 2 hours or something. I could be completely wrong, and I probably am. I don't actually know. But the teleport feature is awesome because in Final Fantasy XI, the only characters that had teleport, or classes rather, were White Mage and sub-White Mage classes. So if you were a Red Mage / White Mage, you would have the teleports from whatever level your sub was. 37 was the main one, but they've changed everything, so now it's 45 or something. I don't know. But anyway, I like how everyone has teleport, and you can also teleport your party members. When you teleport, it will ask them if they also want to teleport. So it's really nice. I really like that about this game. Number 5 is auto-attacking. Now, Final Fantasy XI Online had auto-attacking from the very beginning. They finally implemented it into Final Fantasy XIV, which I find was a very good idea. Because the quote-unquote auto-attack they had was a button that you'd put on your macro list right here, or, wherever you'd want, and you would click it, and there was like a timer, and it wasn't like a bad idea, but it wasn't real auto attacking. So I didn't really like that, but I'm glad they changed it. Number 6 is the levels of the monsters are now shown on next to the names, or beginning of the names. Final Fantasy XI had a /check system, which was you would target the enemy. So let's say, it was a lizard. You would target it, and then you would click on it, and instead of it automatically attacking, there would be a list that pops out, and it would say, attack, magic, stuff like that. At the very end, it would say check, and you would be able to click that and check what it said, and usually it was like, this monster is easy prey, so you wouldn't really get any experience from it, or this monster is tough, even match, incredibly tough, super defense, like, it was very detailed. It told you everything about that monster to your level, which I really, really liked about Final Fantasy XI, and I was hoping they had put that in this instead of what they did now, which is putting the number next to it. But at the same time, it's better than what they had before in Final Fantasy XIV, which there was just colors, and you kind of had to guess. It wasn't a good way of doing things. So I very much like how they put the levels next to it, because you can be in an area for your level and there'll be like a level 40 monster. You don't want to attack the level 40 monster at level 12. It's not fun because you can't kill it. Number 7 is moogles aren't found everywhere in this game. In Final Fantasy XI, moogles were in your Mog house, moogles were in the town, moogles were in, every other city. It was just, moogles were everywhere. In this game, moogles are very rare to find. They're like very secretive, and the times that you do have moogles come up in a cutscene or you see a moogle is usually a very rare occurrence. And I very much like that about this game, because even in the old Final Fantasy games that weren't online, I just feel like moogles should be secretive. They're like fairies, kind of. I don't know. That's what I felt. They should be like in hiding. They come out, to certain people, like adventurers. Number 8 is you're able to dye your gear. As you can see, well, maybe not because I'm standing near fire, I'm wearing a pink robe and white boots and white gloves. You can actually dye the colors of your gear. I didn't dye it. Somebody else did, and then it was created like that. If you already have a piece of gear, I'm pretty sure you can't dye it. It's when you craft. When you craft, you put the dye in, whatever color you want it to come out as, and it comes out. I think there's blue, green, pink, yellow, brown, black, white, and gray. I'm not actually sure, so don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure those are the colors. Number 9 is link shells. If anyone has played an online Final Fantasy game, they will know what a link shell is. A link shell is basically a guild. But the best thing about link shells, and they did this in Final Fantasy XI too, is you can have more than one. You don't have to just be in one guild and that's it. You can have a social link shell, you can have an endgame link shell, you can have a PvP link shell. Not that there's PvP in this game yet, but that's another story. Link shells are awesome because you don't have to be in just one, and I really like that about the Final Fantasy Online games. Number 10 is customizing your character. It's much better than Final Fantasy XI was, in the fact that you can actually choose the color of your hair, you can choose the color of your eyes, you can make your nose look different, you can make your mouth look different, your ears bigger. It's more in-depth than Final Fantasy XI was, but at the same time, it's still, not the best customization. The best one that I have found is Ion, because it was so amazing. You could change literally everything, but it's much better than Final Fantasy XI was, so I really like that. So let's start on the cons. Number 1 was the removing of certain spells. when they did the patch update in implementing auto-attacking and other things, they removed spells from certain classes. I'm not sure if it was all classes, but I've only noticed a couple. For instance, my conjurer is kind of like a black mage in a way, a spellcaster. She has heal, she has stone, she has arrow. She used to have fire, what was it? Fire, there was like ice spikes or something. She had a ton of different damage dealing spells, and now she only has 2. And I really don't understand why they got rid of the spells. I don't feel like that was necessary. Thermitages rather, were more like red mages from Final Fantasy XI, where they had a ton of debuffs. They had slows, paralyze, poison, stuff like that. And they got rid of it all. I don't understand why. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I know that they're bringing out Black Mage. They're implementing it to the game, the class, but I'm just wondering if that will be the debuffer, damager. I'm not sure yet. So hopefully they fix that, because I really like the fact of debuffing. That's my favorite part of the Final Fantasy series. Number 2 is there is no auction house or mailbox in this game. What they have is the market wards. The market wards basically is a bunch of people with their market characters, or I think they call it, what do they call it in this game? Containers. That's what it is. It's basically like a little it's a character, but you can't actually play it. It's just, it stands in these wards and sells your stuff. You give it all your stuff, it sells it. You tell it what prices and stuff. There is a search feature where you can search through the wards what character has what, but it's nothing like an auction house. And apparently they're going to be putting in an auction house feature in 2.0, but I just feel like that was a really odd thing that they didn't do. Mailboxes, I mean, that's just, you know, to send to people. I feel like that was really strange of them not to put in here. Final Fantasy XI had both of those things, and it was awesome. There was guild sellers, but there's always going to be real money trade players in games. It's nothing you can control. Number 3 is the graphics and lag problems. I have an awesome graphics card. I got it for Christmas. It was $300. It's one of the top-end graphics cards at the moment, and I still have terrible graphics problems and lag in this game. I have 8 gigabytes of RAM on my computer. I have a really big hard drive. My processor should be able to run this, and my graphics card obviously is fine. But there's such lag in this game, it's ridiculous, and there's not that many people playing. They said in 2.0 they're going to be changing a lot of things about the graphics. It's not going to look crappy, but it's definitely going to be more for people who don't have to have high-end computers. Everyone will be able to play. That's the problem with this. Final Fantasy XI's graphics were good at the time, but everyone could play, even if you had a crappy, shitty computer. This game, if you don't have the recommended or like the minimum requirements, it's not even possible to try to play it. So that's something they definitely need to change. Number 4 are there no mog houses or bank storage type areas. You don't have anywhere to put your stuff other than on your container. I don't like that. I don't even have a container on this character right now because I haven't felt the need to get one, but I don't like not being able to put my stuff in a certain place. Like, I have all the starting items for all of the classes, so I can level them up when I feel like it, and I just have to keep those items in my bag. There's nowhere to put them. There's no storage in this game, and I really feel like they should change that. I don't know if they're going to be implementing it in 2.0, but I really feel like they should, just because I just find it to be ridiculous. Number 5 is such large areas. It takes forever to get anything without a mount. At low levels, I can't get anywhere. I can't walk around. I have to teleport. and I have to run to those crystals to get the teleports. That's why my anima is so low right now, because I just have to teleport everywhere. It's a pain in the ass running through these things because the maps are so big, and it takes a while to run through them. They're going to be changing that. They're going to be dimming down the maps and the areas and stuff, especially since it's all seamless. There's no loading like in Final Fantasy XI. But this is just one area. This is just one area, and I have to go to like a couple of these places without a mount. I can rent a mount, but it only lasts 10 minutes, and sometimes I can't even get there in 10 minutes. So that's definitely something they're going to change. They have already said so. So level 6. Number 6 in the cons is leveling from 1 to 20 before a party takes place. In Final Fantasy XI, it was 1 to 10. It was not the hardest 1 to 10 solo, and then you got to, look for group, and you got into parties, and that's how you leveled the rest of your levels up. 1 through 20 is weird for me because I'm so used to Final Fantasy XI, and it's taking, not forever, but for a casual gamer like me, a little bit. Just because, as you can see, I'm level 12. I've been playing for the past couple days, maybe even a week by now, but not every day, not for hours on end, but a casual gamer amount, and I'm only level 12, and it's going to be till I get to level 20 to be actually able to meet people and make friends. I only know 2 people on the server right now. So I just feel like they need to lower that or make the leveling easier. It's hard for me to kill things. I don't know if it's just me not knowing how to play this game yet, or if the monsters are too difficult. Number 7 is endgame. There really is not much at all in this game. I think there's like 2 endgame big bosses, which is the Moogle fight and a primal Ifrit fight, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm not positive, so please don't quote me on this, but there isn't a lot in this game, I know, for endgame. Where in Final Fantasy XI there was Dynamis, Sky, Sea, COP missions, Zildrat missions, like all these different things. And they were just, it was awesome to be able to go and do these, and it's like WoW with raiding. You got Tuesday and Thursday nights you guys raid. You can PvP, and that's about it. I didn't like that part about WoW, because why would I run a dungeon over and over and over again just to feed my boredom? That's even more boring. In Final Fantasy XI, there were so many other things you could do. You could level up different classes, you could do sky missions, you could do this, you could do that. It's just, it was much more. I was never bored in that game. I was never bored. Where in this, it seems like endgame right now has like no content. So hopefully they change that. Number 8 is the repairing your gear in this game. In Final Fantasy XI, you didn't have to repair gear. That wasn't an option. They didn't have that in there where your gear would get damaged. In this game, you have to repair gear by getting dark matter, it's called, and there's different levels to it. And what you do is you get the matter, and then you search for someone who can repair your gear, and then they'll, I guess, get it through your bazaar, which is like your little selling icon above your head. They can check you and look at it and repair it. I'm not sure if that's actually how they do it, but I'm assuming, because that's what they did in beta. I don't like that. I think you should just go up, like in WoW, to a vendor and be able to pay for whatever amount to get your gear repaired. I don't like the fact that I have to stand in the middle of a town and wait for someone to check my bazaar and repair for me, or have to shout for someone to repair. I just find that to be a little strange, especially since not only do I have to get the items, but some of them I think are rare. So it's just, I don't understand that. Number 9 is needing to have a craft. In this game, if you don't have a craft, you're kind of, not penalized, but like a lot of things you can't have. For instance, if you're an archer and you can't craft your own arrows, apparently they're like really rare to find in the markets, or they're really expensive, or people just don't make them for others, just for themselves. I feel like that's kind of a stupid thing. That's why another reason why they should have an auction house. But I just feel like having to have a craft, I don't know. I'm not a crafter. I never was. In Final Fantasy XI, I never leveled crafting. And WoW, I only leveled some craft type things, like skinning. I leveled leatherworking a little bit, but nothing, like, I never maxed it. I don't know, I've just never been that type of MMO person. I'm not in it for crafting, I'm in it for playing with other people and fighting stuff. But anyway, number 10 is this little bar down here. I like it, but it's kind of annoying. It has buttons on it that I don't feel should be there. Like, I can't... These are like tips, I think? I don't even really know, because when you go over them, it doesn't show you what they are. It doesn't tell you what they are. But like this, for instance, this makes you attack. There are like 2 buttons on the keyboard to make you do that, and on the controller. Why does that need to be there? This is use item inventory. So instead of just like being your inventory, like the whole thing, and being able to sort it, oh, am I lying? No, I'm not lying. Okay, just making sure. It only shows things you can like eat or consume. I don't like that. This is your link shell list, which right now that's the only one I have. I'm sorry, it's NPC link pearls. So it's not even your link shell list with real people, it's from NPCs. That I don't feel needs to be there. This is your emote list, which I think is fine. This locks the action bars, which that's fine with me too. But these 2, I don't know what they are, and I don't really care. And another thing is, this list is so long, and some of these things don't really need to be there. Like inventory, I understand why that's there, but if I wanted to wear this, there's no like option to put that on. I have to go to this, and then go to this, and then click on that, and it's just, I feel like that's kind of stupid. I know in Final Fantasy XI you couldn't do it either, but I was hoping they would change that. But, yeah. So, those are my pros and cons on Final Fantasy XIV. If you guys have any questions, need answers, or just want to leave a comment, put it in the box below, and I will love to hear from you guys. I don't know if anyone has played Final Fantasy XIV, maybe even from beta. Just let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's a lot of things they need to change? Do you think that this game is terrible? Do you think that it can be fixed? Do you think that it might be good in the future? Let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Toodles.